Welcome to Haunted Horizons GHOSTCAST with Alison Oborn, Craig Cameron and Cag Allwood from Haunted Horizons. No, because we get the messages up there. I think we're actually live, Cag. Stop doing your Facebook.
No, I'm just going to get
Yes,
here so it's a bit closer so I can go up and
Cag
down.
was just busy just doing a Facebook, seeing what the world's doing. So
does that during tours as well.
she does. She hides behind the corners and
see the glow.
look, she can't just give up.
No, because I'm trying to find me.
Welcome to episode 8 of GHOSTCAST. So with Alison, me, and
Would you like me to say my name?
yeah, that's always nice to introduce yourself.
Craig.
Is that? Oh, there you go.
And I'm Cag.
All right.
Are
So
Yeah.
Clag.
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 From Haunted Horizons. So tonight we're going to look at equipment.
Are we on the right one?
Because we are on the right one. Excellent. Because the question is always asked about the equipment, and I see a lot of arguments online as well, which really isn't needed, about whether the equipment is good, whether it's bad, whether it's relevant to use, whether it's just all rubbish. What equipment do we like? Millions of questions, isn't there? So we thought we'd answer those questions tonight, go through some of the okay, spilling everything, go through some of the equipment that we use on the tours and the pros and cons of using them. And is it paranormal, or is there something a little bit more like washing machines? Yeah. So yeah. So if you have any questions as we go along about any of the equipment, please feel free to ask here. We'll try and get to your questions in between. So
Hello, everybody.
hi.
By the way, there are lots of people
So-
watching, including Jen.
Including Jen. Hi, Jen. So, it's just a tool that can assist in my view, Rosemary. So, what equipment? You enjoy using equipment, all this equipment? We're going to get it out in a minute. Of all the equipment.
Sorry.
Get your brain out the gutter. All right, we are live. Looking professional.
Yes.
So, out of all the equipment that we use, what would be your favourite?
You got to love the cat balls. Out of all of them, I think the cat balls is like really, really cool.
Yeah.
The EDI, I think it's because it does lots of different things. If I'm doing a tour, you like the visual ones, the ones that you can hear and you can see, because that's great for tour groups. So the REM pods and the musical
Hi,
box.
Bill. Bill's just joined us.
Hello. The paranormal musical box.
Yeah.
That's got to be a good one.
That's been interesting.
That
It
seems
has.
to
And we
be...
will go through all of this soon. For those who are going, what's an EDI? What's a paranormal music box? All right. This isn't a how to use this stuff. It's just our experiences with using it. Because, as I said, there is an argument online. I see it a lot, that we shouldn't be using any of this stuff, or we should be using it. That's rubbish. This is good. And so it's interesting to see what your favourites is.
So why do you think people don't like using the equipment?
The arguments I see against the equipment is that at the end of the day, the bells and whistles, we don't know what a ghost is, and lots of other factors can set this stuff off. It's just gimmicky, it's been made, because it's been on the shows, we buy it, and it's just gimmicky. So we should throw it all back out and go back to the old way.
Which is?
Exactly, and that's my question, guys. All right, so what way should we investigate? We don't even know what we're dealing with, do we? So if we don't know what we're dealing with, and we want to prove this stuff exists, which I gave up doing a long time ago, then how do you do it? How do you do it? Be interested to see what your views are of that. So keep bringing up your views and stuff like this so we can chat about it.
Yes, people say, that you can't prove that it works. You can't prove that it doesn't work either, do you? So it's...
Yeah.
We never said it's definitely 100% paranormal. A lot of the time you need at least more than one thing to happen at the time, quite often, isn't it? If somebody can see something and can have a piece of equipment going off at the same time, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Equipment going off doesn't really tell us that much, unless we've asked for it to go off.
Yeah.
And we've had that happen a few times. So
if we chose to do an investigation tomorrow night and we didn't have any equipment, how would we do it? What would you do? Go back to old methods? Which
Well, I
would be
do like to go back to old methods as well. I do, if I wasn't doing a tour, I do like to sit quietly and just investigate. So, excuse me, I'm just turning on microphones on. Same mistake last week, and I did it again where I've gone, my microphone wasn't turned on. It is now. Yeah, I mean, I must admit, when I go overseas, when I don't have a tour with me, my favourite way of investigating, because, as I said, I've given up trying to prove this stuff exists. It's very difficult. So for me now, I probably am more after personal experience. So when I go investigating now, I do like to sit quietly. I do like to sit and just listen and monitor and kind of see what happens, audio, stuff like that. But that's never going to prove anything. And this is the thing, you know, the equipment, for me, the equipment just allows me to maybe see if anything else is being corroborated, that's the word, is it? When something is happening. And we have had that. Quinny. So we had an incident, for instance, we had an incident at the Old Talham Town Church, and what happened was one of the girls had a little bit of a trance happening, shall we say, but the whole time this was happening, our REM pods were screaming, and when she was staring at her friends in a really weird way, the REM pods were screaming away. As soon as she turned her head forward, the REM pods all settled down again. Turned her head round to have a look at them, and the REM pods started screaming again. So that to me is where the equipment would come in important, because it's kind of indicating that maybe, just maybe, something unusual is happening. So
what would you like to use?
Yeah, you're sitting there looking po-faced there, Craig.
Well, I'm listening to what you got to say intently.
He's going to come out with something totally different.
What I'd like to use. Well, I think you need to use the equipment as an extension of your own senses.
Yes.
Because the biggest thing you've got is you can only detect certain things. You can smell things, you can see things, you can hear things, but only within a certain range. And if you can use the equipment to extend that range, you're going to get a better chance of having an experience. So, for example, the music box, I know we'll get into that in a second, but the music box is one of those things which deals in ultrasonics. We can't hear it. That thing goes off, we start thinking maybe if we could hear in that frequency or that range, we could have had that audio in our ears. And that audio might be something that says, hello, my name's Fred. But we don't know.
No.
That might be just how they come across to us. So if we use it like that, I mean, you need to probably get away from the gimmicky stuff. The gimmicky stuff is the stuff
what would you class as gimmicky?
out of the stuff we use, the stuff we don't use.
Well, both. We obviously get everything we can that people see out there and want to use, but what would you consider gimmicky?
Well, there's a lot, if we don't go down the road of apps, there's a lot of apps out there which are gimmicky. And there's a few of them which are good, but there's a lot of them which are gimmicky. And they're designed to get a star or randomly give you answers or words to try to keep you interested. I think from a gimmicky point of view, you're probably looking at things like the Rook, the Ghost Arc, two things we don't use anymore because we know a lot of different things set them off.
Yeah.
So there's a number of items which will always start to, go off. The obelisk is one of those.
Yeah.
And the obelisk is one which is going to be the most inexact piece of equipment that we use. But what's even weird about the obelisk is we've been getting some very unusual words out of it.
Yeah. And this is the thing is, I don't know about you, but when Craig first joined us and when Cag first joined us, I used to say about the obelisk, behind the scenes, I would just throw it under a bus and roll my bus over it several times because it was useless. It was like, well, you can't tell me. And for those who don't know what an obelisk is, because obviously there's some out there who haven't used the equipment. All right, so this is an obelisk. Basically, it turns EMF fields into words, and that's a very, very basic. This isn't how to use the equipment, guys. This isn't an instruction. So it'll actually say words. It'll turn the EMF fields into words, and it'll print the words there. So now I used to say, the ghosts know exactly what EMF level and temperature and reading it needs to bring out just the word it wants. So
Look, I'm a master of the camera.
Very interesting word.
Very interesting word. But, we have to get these out every tour. And the amount of tours, I'm going to turn it off now because it's chattering away. We've used it for, 10 years now. And several times a week, several hours a night. Most of the time it's just random words. And that's what we tell people. It's going to come out with words. It's reading the random fields around it. So it's going to say and it's going to chatter. But just sometimes I've had to eat my words. One of them was in Lep Castle, wasn't it?
Yes, that was weird.
That was weird.
Because we were just talking about the elemental that they're supposed to have there.
Yeah. So Lep Castle is in an island, again, for those who don't know. And Kagami had it for the night. And yeah, one of the ones there is an elemental. And
What type of elemental?
Scary one.
Yeah, the scary ones.
Yeah, a very scary
Yeah,
elemental.
not the nice ones you can get. It was a scary one.
It was a scary elemental, yeah.
And we've just been chatting about it, and so as we're setting up the equipment, and we turned the ovilus on. The first word that came out it was elemental, and then it was
horrible, and then reveal.
Yeah. And we were like, yes,
elemental.
The elementals.
And just after that, we heard something running on the floor.
We did, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Which didn't unnerve us at all.
No,
really.
not in the slightest.
Elementals run, do they?
So, I mean, it could be
obviously they do.
coincidental. It could be a coincidental.
It's a coincidence.
I like
It's a
that word.
coincidental.
It's a coincidence.
A coincidental words that came out at that point, but it was very meaningful. But, we have had some unusual. Most of the time it's just random stuff, but we certainly have. Now, if we threw this away, like I was going to, and go, yeah, we're not using that rubbish, we would miss out on some interesting stuff. Not all the time, just occasionally. So,
Yeah.
Hang on, Rosemary, yup, in the stable. Oh, it came out with a few things that make you go. Rosemary, talking about the stables at Glenbar, there is a live feed on Haunted Horizons, and I went live from Glenbar. And while I was live, this is a classic. While I was live, I was talking about the ovilus to the people who were watching. And I said, look, it does this. I went into it in more depth, and I said, this is what it does. It does this, 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 this. And all of a sudden the ovilus went, oh, like that. I've never heard my ovilus go, oh, it's as if the penny dropped to whatever it was. That's what it does. Is that what we expect them to know what it is, don't we?
We do. And that's the problem, isn't it?
So I explained it to the dead as well. There you go. But yeah, no, the ovilus, most of the time I would say ignore. It's just chatter unless it's meaningful, like Bill Griggs. But occasionally, just occasionally. Now, again, would you throw something out just because it shouldn't? And that's my argument with equipment. Do we throw it out because it shouldn't do what we say it does? Mm-hmm. So, all right. So
you never said what equipment you like.
Yeah, you didn't.
Well, I like the ones which can't be manipulated. It's the ones which don't have algorithms in them, like the ovilus. So when you got things like the EDI, which pick up and change in air pressure, even thermometer devices, most of them can be manipulated to a certain degree by something, but you need to work out what that something is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So EDIs are pretty cool because there's two things which in the field that I've found work. It's almost I'm not going to say 100%, but it's very close to it. The two things that I've found which will give us results is the air pressure sensor on the EDI. An EDI is an environmental detection instrument. So it's a device which will pick up changes in the environment. Now, with these things here, they'll flash a coloured light in a dark room or wherever, and it'll tell you when the air pressure is increasing, decreasing, temperature or humidity, and a few other things. Mm-hmm. When the air pressure light goes off, I start getting really excited because most times when it has, it's led into something else. It might be something minor, like another piece of equipment going off or someone reacting to it. But when that's gone off, it's been really, really curious. And it's also led into a couple of really weird things. And the Railway Museum on Friday night, we had an incident in the brake van where the precursor was the air pressure light. And it's like this thing flashed, and it's like, uh-oh. And the next thing we knew, one of the girls was out of there very, very quickly. With a couple of loud bangs in there. So it's really, really intriguing. And the other thing I've found is darkness. And we've all been in a situation where you walked into a place, you've gone into a place where you are very, very familiar with, and all of a sudden it's so dark. And we've walked in and gone, geez, it feels dark tonight. And at that point, you're almost likely to have an incident. And the rate of getting it is really, really high.
Yeah, I've had that in Z Ward. You've walked in there and you know it should be lighter because you've got the office lights on the other buildings, and it just, you look down the hallway and it's black.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's different.
But we get that maybe once a year, though. It's such a
it's not all the time,
infrequent.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's when we get it, we notice it.
Yeah.
I remember one time when we were at the jail, me and Michael walked into one of the yards.
Yeah.
We'd been in the whole jail for about 3 hours. And I think I'd finished my tour, you were doing a tour, me and Michael walk into the foreyard, and as we walk into the yard, it's like someone had put a great big blanket over the yard. It was so dark. Me and Michael just looked at each other going, why is it so dark? And then when we did the investigation, we had a couple of incidents in there later on. So it was really weird. It led into something. So the two things that I think are really interesting is how you sense things, and whether it be darkness or whether it be the feeling that things are different, or whether the devices go off. And even better when the devices go off to support your feeling. And that's when I quite like the investigations, because most of the other devices can be, supportive of what's going on around. But the things like the obelisk and the things you never get over is, how is it saying the word? How is the spirit being trained to say the word? Now, out of 2,000 words, to get that word out, the random chance of that coming out is actually reasonably high.
I don't know if it is doing it in I put a lot of thought into that, and I honestly don't know whether it is using the EMF fields to get that word out. I sometimes wonder if it's manipulating the words and the device itself. I don't know about you, but I've heard words coming out of the obelisk, and I said, what did it say on the printout? And it's been a completely different word. Yeah. I was talking in the church one night about, one of the guys in the church said, something's just tugged my jacket. And at that time, we all heard coming out the obelisk the word tug. Now, tug is a short word, and we all heard it, tug. And I said, what did it just say? Can you just read the word out? It said copper. There is no way what we heard was the word copper. So it's just like, so sometimes I wonder whether it is. I mean, I know it's supposed to be picking up on random fields, but I sometimes wonder whether, if ghosts exist and ghosts are manipulating this stuff, whether they're able to manipulate directly. So, all right. K2s, what's your thought on K2s?
I think it depends on where you are.
The broken K2s. What's your thoughts on the broken ones?
I think it depends on where you are, what venue.
Do you think they have any value whatsoever?
I think different pieces of equipment work better in different venues. However, the K2 is easily manipulable. So I think one of the classics with the K2s is that certain locations direct line of sight with a tower, and you might not know it, but the tower might be sticking out the window. You know how you go between sheds in the Railway Museum?
Yes, there's a certain line, isn't there?
And you go there, you come outside of one shed, go into the other shed, and all of a sudden it starts flashing. And you know what it is, right? And everyone knows what it is because you tell them, it's a
And we are
tower.
honest. We are honest. People will say that we do say it's a tower. So.
But we're not going to know everything about where things are placed either. So we're not always going to be 100% sure of it. It could be a truckie going past with a walkie-talkie, and that walkie-talkie is going to activate.
But I
know
like
about
those. I like those at Tytham Town though,
Why?
because there's nothing much you can pick up on, can it? Apart from
I found, because we have these on, all right, you've got to be in fairly close range to them. Because don't forget, we live feed, and you'll see that when we go overseas. When we're doing the live investigations, we have our phones on because we have to be online to actually be able to broadcast to you lot. And yet we've got the K2s there. As long as we're at a certain distance, I don't think we've ever had a K2
the
go
new mobile phones are a
The
lot better.
Samsungs don't seem to affect them as much. These have never gone off when we've been overseas. I don't think I've ever had a K2 go off overseas. So
So these things are designed to pick up changes.
But towers will. If you're in the line of a tower signal, so you've got a tower over there and it's transmitting to your phone, and you get in between that line of it does set it off. You can find where the tower in line to the towers are to your phone. So
So these are triggered by change in electromagnetic field, not electromagnetic fields. So if you turn one on and one off, like a walkie-talkie, that'll activate.
Yeah.
If you keep your phone on 24/7 all the time and it's the same signal,
It's not
this
a
won't
change.
activate.
So that'll be
So
why. Okay.
yeah, and the millimeter gets around that if you want to use a millimeter, and the millimeter will.
I'm sorry, I'm just reading your messages, guys.
The millimeter will cut that out.
Right.
So you can do what you want to do
Yeah.
with a mil.
But I do like to work with 3. And I always say this on the tours. I never ever walk around like this going, where's the ghost? And then it goes up to red and you go, oh my God, I've got a ghost. Because it doesn't tell you anything. One of these going off tells you absolutely nothing. It tells you you've got a spike of EMF or a change in the EMF field. That's it. That's all it tells you. If you've got 3 next to each other, all right. If one goes off, I'm going to want to know why. I'll even turn it around. If one goes off, I'm going to want to know why the other 2 didn't. And that I'm looking for something a little more unusual. So because if it's natural, they should all pick up on that field. So I do like to have them static. I do like to have them, I don't know about you, but I like to have them not being held and walked around with. And then see if we can't get something on one, but not the other 2. That would interest me a lot more than...
Which I've had it
Yeah.
in Z-Ward before.
So you can use them to, if you've got 3 or 2 of them going, you need 3 really, but you can triangulate to see where the signal's
Craig, that's
coming
my
from.
voice. It really is bad. Guys, if it's really bad, let me know.
Well, Shane Pod said it's okay because we're normally out of sync anyway, so that's fine. It's all good.
Is it that bad? Tell us if it's that bad and we'll rejig it. As I said, we are videotaping on a camera as well, so we're going to put it up later, a proper version. But if it's amusing, it will just keep going. So, all right, what else have we got?
What's your favourite things, Alison?
What's my favourite things? Oh, voice recorder.
Oh, now Kerry's restarted. It's all good now.
It's all
So
good now?
if it's all out of sync, if you restart it, it'll go back
Okay,
properly.
so that's your fault, guys. You restart.
It's always
I live in the
someone else's
country.
fault.
What can I say? My internet, we haven't even got broadband. Not
No.
broadband. ABN.
NBN.
Yet. NBN. That's
ABN.
it. ABN.
ABN.
ABN. NBN. You know
It's
what
going to
it
be a
means.
long night, isn't it?
It's
It is.
a long night.
Actually, Shane, it's funny you should say that. I'm going to say that actually one of mine favourite things so far are the cat balls. Not when they go off. All right, I'm not convinced. We don't know what the electronics are in them. All right, there's nothing that tells you how it's built, what the electronics are. And when Ben Hansen was over here, he did bring up a good point. We don't know that. We don't know if when it's sitting there on its own, that maybe it isn't triggering off from the faulty electronics in it every now and again. What I like is when it rolls across things, which I have had in the hospital. I've had it rolling across beds. I've had it in the Adelaide jail. We actually had a woman in a cell, and I was doing some role playing outside, and the woman started to panic because the ball went off. We thought it had just gone off, but she was videotaping with her phone, so we know she didn't touch it. And I said, well, can we look back on the video? So we looked back on the video. The ball doesn't just flash. The ball actually rolls across the floor on its own. And it's a flat surface. So, and she's in the corner like this going, Alison, Alison, Alison. If it rolls, I'm a lot more interested. I've just put up a new video from Shepton Mallet where it actually pivots on the spot. And that as well interests me. It's movements that it's not as common to do. So the balls, actually, I do love. Were you bored?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You haven't seen it roll though, have you?
I have.
Have you?
I've seen it in the Ragged School.
When he came off the chocolate. That's true. I forgot about the Ragged School one where he comes off the chocolate. Yeah.
Those damn little kids stealing our chocolate.
I
It was
know,
the only
they were
chocolate
trying
we
to,
had
they were trying
left
to
that
steal
night
our
too.
chocolate
I
bar.
wasn't very happy with that.
No, it wasn't good, was it?
Those children can't be
I
trusted.
know, they
Kate.
can't.
Yeah.
Not in the slightest.
Cable is interesting when you know they haven't moved. The only problem is it's
Yeah.
dark, and when they start to flash, it gives the illusion that
It's
they're
got an
moving.
optical illusion on the eyes,
Yeah.
hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and so you got to watch the video to see if they've actually moved. And that doesn't get rid of the
Unless it
optical
does
illusion.
go quite away, then it's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yes, but that would be
Like when it goes rolling across the bed and then towards the person who asked the question as well.
Be better, like Shane said, if it flies across and hits someone in the head. That would be good.
Well, it probably would have, but a K2 stopped it from going any further. I'm sure that would have gone off.
Here's a memory for your life, isn't it? You're hit in the head with one of the cat balls during the investigation.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be really cool.
Yes, ma'am.
See?
Jason
agreed.
Jason agrees. Just Jason's voice. I'm just going to do a little plug here. That is Jason's voice from Paranormal Quest. Hasn't he got a lovely voice? We had to have it on my ringtone. And they're coming in April, 10th of April. Good Friday.
Yes.
From America. So they're coming to do some talks. We still have some tickets left, guys. So
Damn,
get in.
Tony's watching.
So what about your thoughts on the balls? You've had to do it in the hospital as well. At hospital, it was doing it a lot, wasn't
Yeah.
it? You had it in the morgue.
Yes.
Actually, that's when most of them happened, in the morgue.
Yeah, so I had, and it was actually on carpet as well.
Yeah.
And we got it on video, so that was pretty cool. I quite like the balls, actually. I think they're... the only issue I have with the balls is that if you're walking around, you can't see them.
Yeah.
So they go flying.
Yeah.
If you...
Or get crushed.
Or get crushed. Bless
Sorry.
you. What do we think of old Victorian techniques?
I like to use them every now and again. For me, I prefer, personally, equipment based. I can't be sure. Let's say there's 4 people on the table tipping. I can't be sure that somebody, and not purposely, but we have a lot of movements in our hands that we're not aware of. Probably table tipping is probably a little more extreme. I would say pendulum,
Divining rods.
divining rods especially. And it's not intentional, but we have all these little movements in our idiomotor movements, is that the word? That we're not aware of, that can actually kind of influence what we're doing. And I think if we can influence it, then for me personally, I'm not saying that's for everybody, for me personally, if a human being can influence it without us knowing, then I personally don't use it, because I want equipment based. I want to know it's not us. We can't make something go off. Well, we can, but we don't do that. We could with 2-ways and stuff like that, but we don't. So that's just personally me. I love to use it every now and again. We use it several times a year.
We have a Victorian night,
Yeah.
so we investigate the way the people used to do in the Victorian times,
Yeah.
don't we? So everybody can have a go at that, but we also have our equipment out at the same time.
Yeah.
So what we're looking for, if something happens using the paranormal equipment and also the modern day equipment, if they go off at the same time, that for us is more interesting. Isn't it?
And what do you think about? I mean, you two. I've just given this is personal thoughts, all right? This isn't right. There's nothing right or wrong about what we use, because it's hard enough to prove this stuff exists without saying this is how we should be investigating. So we're not psychic, we're not medium, we're about as mediumistic as a brick. Really. Yeah. And I think that we can talk for all 3. Cag might be.
Cag's a little bit psychic.
Yeah, I'm sure Cag's
Not in the
psychic.
slightest.
She always finishes my sentences, so I think she is. Yeah.
Well, actually,
It's really annoying. Online, spend too much time together.
yeah.
So that's just it's my personal thoughts as to why I don't. It's not that it's right or it's wrong. It's
You
not
just
that,
have to, if you're going to do table tipping and glass divination and that sort of
You have
thing,
to have
and
a lot of
Ouija board,
trust.
you have to have a trust in all the people that are on the table.
Yeah.
And I have been kicked off.
You have.
I've been kicked off a Ouija board.
we won't say
before.
where,
No,
because that would be giving away.
but
It's in
I
England,
caught
though.
somebody cheating on the board, so I was pushing against. I eventually got kicked off the board.
You did, and called a cow.
And called a cow,
Yeah.
Supposedly by the spirits, but actually I think it was about the woman that was actually in charge of the board that was doing that. I've never been on a table yet that has moved. I'm not saying it can't, because I know people that it has happened to.
Yeah, Beth Darlington from Access Paranormal. I mean, she's very rational, and I would put a lot of faith in Beth. And she actually watched in the Ragged School where we investigated, not on our investigation, but she actually watched the table walking down the hallway, and people were trying to keep up with it. And I trust Beth, and she's not one that can be fooled. Also, Jebra, the
guy there, they had it walking down the
Jebra,
corridor.
the guy that took us around. I mean, he's not into the ghosts. He was just there to host us. He was the one that volunteers there that just opened the place up for Jedburgh Jail. He said the same thing. He watched astounded as this table walked down the hallway. It was just like boom, boom, boom. And he said people were trying to keep up with it. It was going that.
So I'm not saying, none of us are saying...
I haven't had that happen until I do.
Yeah, we're not saying it can't happen.
No.
I'm just saying...
I'd love it if it did happen when I was on
it's just never happened to us.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, we're not going to knock at anything. We're not going to say anything is right, anything is wrong, because we are all struggling in the dark, literally struggling in the dark, trying to find a way of proving this stuff exists, whether it's to ourselves, whether it's to others. So there is no right or wrong. We don't know what even we're dealing with. So,
well, let's go back to basics. Let's say there's a ghost.
Yep.
And let's say the ghost is going to say hello to us. And I know there's been a few comments come through which have said, you know, tap once, tap twice, or make a noise, or whatever it might be, or pull my hair. Now, any of those sort of things should be detectable by our equipment. We should be able to detect the change in our environment.
But why?
Well, because if you tap, you got a sound wave.
All right.
If you say something, you've got a sound wave.
Yeah.
Anything you do in an environment which alters the environment that we sense has to be detectable. Some piece of equipment has to be able to detect it. Temperature change, anything has to be detectable. Our job is to detect it with the equipment. That's why when we use it, and instead of getting the gimmicky stuff out, getting the stuff out which detects the environment change, we got more of a chance to pick something up around us. And because we sometimes can't hear it. You know how many times we've listened to the Ghost Box back and we haven't heard anything live, but all of a sudden we are listening to it and someone says, "Hi, my name's Fred." We hear it when we play it back.
There's a
How
lot of
often
stuff.
does that happen?
A lot of stuff that we hear when we play it back, and we go, "How do we miss that?" It is so clear. How do we miss that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've just got a...
Can I have my
message
phone?
up here?
Yeah.
Do you want your message? Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going to bring you messages.
My
up, mate.
husband, he doesn't say much, bless him, he's just said the cat balls are a very simplistic device and doesn't require interpretation of data or readings of intangible aspects of the environment such as EMF or temperature changes. Does that therefore make them a more reliable, albeit simple source of detection? Are we making detection more complicated than necessary?
And sometimes I wonder if we are.
Yes, ma'am.
Jason agrees.
Jason agrees. There we are, Tony. It's all good.
Jason agrees with you, Tony. Sometimes I wonder if we are making it more complicated than we need to. With all this equipment, apart from the fact we've got to drag it around with us, with all this equipment, are we making it more complicated?
Technology is making different ways for us to be able to detect different things. And so we need to test everything that comes out to see if anything works better than previously. Like, how many times have we had people use the mirrors? And the mirrors have been giving us some really odd results as well. Whether it's scientific and whether it's real proof of the paranormal, you know, you're never going to know. But it's probably not likely to be. But a lot of people look into it and see something else looking at them, talking to them, and we've identified someone from that, which has been really, really weird and slightly uncomfortable. So, I don't know. I don't think we're overcomplicating, but I think we need to find the thing that does it. Shadow detectors are pretty good. Ultrasonics are pretty good because they're actually picking up a change in the environment. And I think I'm going to say that 1,000 times. That's what you're looking for. If you can detect a change in the environment, we don't know what's causing it, we're one step closer. Are we ever going to stand there and someone can just walk up in front of us and say, "Hi, I'm a ghost"? It's not going to happen, right? And I don't think that we're going to be able to have that so explicitly revealed to us. And so the equipment is trying to help us get to that point. If we use things like cat balls, I mean, absolutely simplistic devices, cost $2 or whatever they are, right? But
$2.60, do you mind?
Yeah, can you get the price right? It's $2.60. It's
They're not that cheap.
Unless you buy $25 ones and get ripped. And I'm going to say, because people shouldn't rip people off in this field, what are they called? Light spheres.
Paranormal
light spheres, which are $25 when they're actually only $2.60 cat balls. So don't get ripped off by those because that is disgusting. Just go. Sorry.
Shane Potter says that his glasses they walk because he's never there. He can never find them.
Actually, Jen, I just saw Jen's comment as well that
about the table.
She agrees. It's like there's a place for everything, but you do. You know, she's had good stuff happen with the table. She's had people that's put it on. You've got to trust the people. Who are on the table?
Charmaine Mansfield, who runs Tasmania's Most Haunted,
Yeah.
they've had a table slide into the in the ladies' cottage,
All right.
and they couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
So yes,
It's when you can't keep up with it because your hands can't push something that you're trying to keep up with. So, but I've yet to see that. All right. So until I see it on one of our tours or investigations.
Kerry's come up with a good one as
Oh,
well. Kerry.
Kerry.
She says, I think equipment is really good on a tour because it allows more ways to interact. It keeps people interested. Without them, it could just be a ghost story.
Well, this is true. Yeah. Yep.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that as well. So.
Well, that's the commercial reality. Is
Yeah.
you need to keep people engaged, so they keep focused, and if something does
Yeah.
happen, they're more in tune with it. They've got their senses a little bit more tightly honed towards something happening. Whereas if you're sitting there and you're telling stories, or you're just listening, you're becoming disengaged.
Yeah.
And you're not always focusing on the things you need to focus on.
Yeah, Jen was also saying that table tipping should be done with the lights on.
Yeah.
Well, that's the argument, isn't it? Why can't all
Yeah.
this be done with the lights on?
But it can.
course it can.
We've people kind of say.
Is that yours?
Yeah. Is that
Oh my
yours?
God. Yeah.
Oh, Craig, don't you know to turn your phone off?
Well, you've been playing with yours the whole bloody time.
But that's because I'm doing Facebook on it. You've got a call coming through. And
Marketing.
Jason's voice has a sultry sound to it, so we have to have that.
we have to have Jason because he
We
answers
do.
the questions.
He
doesn't
does. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
On live.
And all the live people love it. All right, so let's go on to our next bit of equipment. So what should we do next? Paranormal music box. This is fairly new. So what it is it has an infrared beam,
Ultrasonic.
ultrasonic beam even, because Craig's the tech guy. Right, that's just setting itself up. That's great in a dark room when that creepy music starts. I think it's actually hitting the lights over there. There we go. All right, so if you break that beam, it'll set the music off. So insects, don't do it. Bat might, if it flies best.
Be too quick.
Yeah. So what do you think of the new bit of equipment? It's
I think
very
that's
creepy
pretty-
when it goes off in the middle of
It is
nowhere.
creepy. It's
Yeah.
great because we do the tourism side of it as well. So
Yeah.
I think for that it's brilliant, and everybody loves it. It freaks everybody out.
Yeah.
And what's also interesting is that I've had it where you have to have a gap in front of it, 2 metre gap, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But I've put it in certain doorways at Z Ward and at Glenbar, and it won't work in certain ones, but you put it in other ones, and it will. Have you had that before?
Yeah, I love it. I reckon the music box is pretty cool because it very rarely goes off. And that's what
Yes.
you want. You want the device to go
Yeah,
off
that
when
doesn't go
something
off all the
happens.
time. Yeah.
So you can focus on that and the other pieces of equipment. I think a lot of people fall into the trap of when they investigate, they get a ghost box out and start talking to the ghost box or start using the apps.
Yep.
There's no point trying to communicate with something because you don't even know if it's there.
Yeah.
So you need to work out whether it's there first, otherwise you're wasting your time.
Yeah. So you need stuff happening first.
Yeah, you need to have, because the thing I find about it is if you've got all these devices which pick up on something completely different, you're monitoring so many different parts of the environment that any interaction by any of those methods can give you a leg up that something's happening. Whereas if you don't use ultrasonics and something communicates easily by using ultrasonics, it's like us. We communicate sometimes with our hands, sometimes with our mouth, sometimes with our eyes. And so when you're communicating, which of those methods are you going to use? If I'm blind, I can't see you communicating. But I can hear you doing this.
Yeah.
So if we don't know how to communicate, so we need to have our eyes and all the senses on everything to work out how they're doing it so we can respond to that. And we can know that something's trying to communicate. So if something's knocking, we can answer the door. And that's why having different pieces of equipment, and that's why the gimmicky stuff ain't going to help us much. And that's why the proper equipment that we use gives a better chance. Periscope's another
Really
one.
cool.
Periscope. Oh, I have a periscope as well. Look. Yeah. Static. Actually, you can just see it starting to set itself and light up as it goes across. So what do you think of the periscope? Craig?
Go on, because you go.
You're too busy
She
doing
asked
your
you.
Facebook
No,
page.
I'm not. I'm not doing Facebook. I'm looking at people's messages.
I love the Periscope because I've only ever seen it really go off once, and I'm looking at it going, oh my God, and that was in cell number 3 with Mel.
Yeah.
It was weird because we were all there and we were watching the periscope, and it was lighting up to a specific colour. And there's another periscope, and the other periscope is a full circle, and it's got a full range of colour in it. And we're asking what colour lollies you like, or what colour lolly is a pineapple lolly.
Yeah.
And it would light up to yellow. And it
Okay.
was really, really
See,
weird.
I've had nothing much on it at all.
But that's good.
It is. Oh, it is good.
That's what
But
you
I've
want.
not-
You
yeah.
want most of the time to have absolutely nothing
Yeah.
on this equipment. I had an interesting one with it. And with the music box. In fact, it was only a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully, she sent me the footage, so hopefully she puts it up. But I took one of the students from the uni to the Adelaide jail. And we were in yard 3.
Were you videotaping it?
She was. Because this was a uni student project. So we're in yard 3. We'd set up a whole load of equipment down one of the cell blocks. And I thought, you know what? Just over in another building, just in the yard, I thought I'll stick the music box just in the doorway there, just in case anything's in the building that sets it off. And we were asking for things to happen. Nothing was happening on the equipment at all. And then suddenly the music box triggered over in the building, induction. And then about 15 seconds after the music box triggered, all our equipment down our side started to trigger, and it was actually responding to our questions. And then suddenly all our equipment stopped completely. About 15 seconds later, the music box triggered again across the other side of the yard in the building, and that was it for the night. It was almost like whatever it was triggered it as it came out, came and lit everything up, and then went back again. Coincidence, maybe. But, you know, if we didn't have the equipment there, we would never have known. So, all right, so what are we going to talk about next? We've got so much.
Airbox.
Oh, no,
With
let's
REM
talk
pods.
about REM pods. REM pods. What do you think about the REM pods?
Pods.
Yes.
Do you know what? Mine has not gone off at all for I don't know how long. We had a phase of the REM pods going off and lighting up, and it hasn't gone off for I don't know how long.
No, I don't think mine's gone off for a while.
It's been months
Yeah.
since.
But
I've
again,
had
that's
any.
good.
Oh, it is. It is, but it's yeah. But when they do go off, they're great because they're such a visual thing. You know,
Yeah.
and you can put it somewhere as well because you can hear it. It doesn't have to be right next to you. You can put it in another cell somewhere or around the corner, or can't you?
So have you had any good experiences with that?
The REM pod?
Yep.
We've had one time
And by the
at
way, guys,
Royal Adelaide Hospital.
I'm going to just say that's a REM pod. The antenna is giving off a little magnetic field. Is it? Craig's probably going to correct me on all of this. It sets up its own field around itself. If it feels a resistance in that field, I don't even have to touch it. It's going to light up. For those who've never seen a REM pod before.
And the closer you get to it, the more likely.
I feel like one of those game show hosts. Here it is.
Not watching that show.
No.
Right.
Oh, there's a ghost.
My head hurts, Kay. Did we invite her onto this one or not?
I don't know.
So,
It
what's
just keeps
your
turning
thoughts
up.
on the REM pods? And again, we're not saying the good, the bad. This isn't what this show is about. It's just looking at the equipment and going, well, have we had anything interesting happen with it? That's all. So,
I like them. So it's with Quinny, that would have
yeah.
that wouldn't have been as interesting as it was without the REM pods going off. So that sort of made
Quinny
that.
was the big one. Quinny was the big one. And anybody who's been to Tailem Town, seen the footage, you'll know what we mean. It's probably the creepiest one we've got, bit of footage. It's not online, guys, because that sort of stuff doesn't go up. But
So we had several things going on during that. We had the
Yeah.
obelisk going off, and we also had that through Rachel's experience,
Yeah.
which was almost a mirror image of Quinny's. And we also had the shadows go through as well.
that figure, shadow
Yep.
figure, yeah.
And that was really cool
Yeah.
because we also had the obelisk, which came up with the words used, unholy, and got. So the words are very specific to the incident. So what you're looking for is not so much what the equipment is and what the equipment does, but how it reacts to a situation that someone's going through. Because it means a person is not, not one, faking it, or less likely to be faking it. And number two, it sort of vindicates them a little bit that they're not psychotic.
Yeah.
Because they're watching stuff go off around them, which we can't explain. So and I think that's an important thing.
Abby's just come out with a really good question. What is your theory explaining why it's so hard for spirits to communicate? Why don't they want to prove themselves to living people that they exist?
Do they need to? Do they? Why did they have to? This would be, we could turn that around. And we're not saying that exists at all, because I said it's really hard to prove this stuff exists. We seem to think, the amount of questions I get on my tours like, oh, come on, I don't believe in you. Prove you exist. All right, why do they have to? Why do I have to prove that I'm somebody? Why do I have to prove to somebody I don't know that I can't think of a good analogy for that. But do you know what I mean? Why do they have to? What's in it for them to prove that they exist? We just expect them to do it. Hey, come on, prove you exist. But maybe they don't feel the need. Why should they? They are what they are.
Well, I think our perspective's wrong. That means we're the centre of the universe.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the right way of approaching it. So if you think that you walk into a place and it's reputedly haunted and you want to get a reaction out of people or out of whatever's there, why should they interact with us? There's no reason for them to do so. We need to give them a reason to interact with us. It'd be the same as if you walk past a whole heap of ants. Why would we interact with the ants? They're off doing their own thing. But the ants might be down there.
I just got an image of an ant waving, going, prove you exist.
The ant might be saying.
But it's a great question. I don't think we're knocking that question. That's actually a brilliant question, because we can actually turn that question around. We seem to think they should. They should prove they exist.
And we do, every time we do an investigation, it's almost like we're demanding that they come through. And we're asking them to come through, but we're not giving them any motivation to come through. And I don't know if they want to. I don't know if it works that way on the other side.
We don't know. We don't know.
Sorry.
If it worked that way, they would interact with us all the time.
Now you've ruined it, Kev, because it's... All right, so let's do the ghost box, spirit box. Everybody loves a ghost box, spirit box. Well, they don't.
Well, apart from Shane, because nobody talks to him.
No, apart from Shane, nobody wants to talk to Shane. All right, all the different models, and that's not all the different models we've got. So I think we've got just about every model.
Yeah, you've got another one in there as well, haven't you? The S-Box as well.
The S-Box as well. Yeah, then you've got the new one, which is the S-Box up here. So you've got all these different models, and each one of us likes a different model, don't we? And I haven't even got theirs here. We've got other models as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably the most controversial thing we're going to talk about. Thoughts. I'm going to play you a couple of audio snippets as well. So, because obviously the argument is it's a broken radio. You've got Snip as a DJ, and it's like the game you used to play. You ask a question, you're going to hear something that's going to probably fit that question, but it's really just a DJ just coming out with a word at that moment. And that's the argument. And that was my argument, because I was the biggest skeptic on it. So, all right. I'm looking at you, Craig.
Don't like them.
You don't like them?
No, never liked the ghost box. Despise the ghost box. All random.
All of it?
Absolutely everything.
Everything?
Everything.
All right. Let's play. Oh, okay. Your thoughts?
No,
I've been playing you some new ones today.
Well, you have, but I mean, it's I quite like it. I don't like to play it all the time because it's quite annoying to listen to. But I've had some really interesting things.
I think most of the time it's rubbish, and I'm still not convinced, guys. I'm not saying it's for real. It could just be coincidence. But I thought I'd play you a couple so that we've had over the years. So Ghost Box. For those who remember us as PFI, or Paranormal Field Investigators, we used to have a investigator called Spilios. Now, Spilios is one of the rarer Greek names you're going to get. Spirios is quite common. Spilios is a little rarer. So in this one, I'm going to play. Hopefully you can hear it. I've got the speaker there, so hopefully in this one you'll hear it. But Spilios is asking in the Adelaide jail for it to say his name. All right, so the chances of Spilios coming out at the exact moment you're asking for Spilios it would be quite rare. So with that, hopefully it plays. Let me just play it for you. All right, what about that?
Can you say Stelios, please?
There. How can you say that's random? It clearly says Spilios. It clearly says Spilios. Sorry if it's a bit sharp on the ears. It's just the way this speaker is that I've got.
Can you say Stelios, please?
That's so Spilios.
You're listening for it.
But you can't even listen for that. It's definitely on it. All right, well, let's go for this one. I won't even say what this one says. All right, so we're all saying goodbye. We're about to turn it off.
Cheers.
So the number of times we've heard Alison come out of a ghost box, it must be in the
Cheers.
And goodbye straight after.
Doesn't sound like goodbye at all.
Yes, it does.
Cheers.
Goodbye. Goodbye. How can you say that doesn't sound like goodbye?
Goodbye. It's like,
Goodbye. Goodbye.
could have been anything. Could have been a shriek. Could have been a bat going past.
At least I got them working. A bat going past.
A shriek.
A bat. For me, that cockatoo is actually louder than the bat, I think. For me, the jury is still
Ghost saying
out.
goodbye outside.
I am about to put some old PFI stuff up, which actually this stuff was taken from 2009. So welcome to the countryside. Bad internet, cockatoos. I am going to put some of our vintage stuff up, which I've just found, which is quite interesting. So
That's pretty cool.
Craig's playing devil's advocate now. So
We hear what we want to hear, and the phonetics can be very similar across words.
yeah, what did he say about headphones when we put headphones on?
We hear familiar words.
It's the same. It's the same thing as when the obelisk comes out, and the obelisk says a word unique to our investigation. It could be one of 100 words unique to what we're doing, and it's the same thing. Ghostbox is a radio. It works on sounds.
Yeah.
As the sounds go, it cycles through. You can have 5 different phonetics come together at exactly the right time to sound like a word. Now, maybe it was Spilios.
What about?
Why would the spirit come through and say one word and then retract and not say anything else?
Maybe
If they want to say something,
Can
let
I just
them
point
say
out
something.
the camera again?
That's doing some weird.
That's what happened before.
It's zooming in on its own.
It is zooming on. That's why I moved it before, because it's zoomed in.
Turn on the spirit box and let's ask who's there and let's see if we get a name out of it.
That is really weird, guys.
Yeah, well, that's what
We're
happened
getting
before.
some
That's why I
real
moved
equipment,
it.
weird stuff happening because my camera, which we're nowhere near, my video camera,
Yeah.
is actually zooming in on us on its
And that's
own.
why I've been doing that, because I'm actually out of shot now on
Okay,
the
doesn't like
camera.
Okay, how do you explain that one?
Malfunction.
Sorry, I
It's just
have
done
to
an
do it
update.
again.
What you? Okay, so what's your opinion of ghosts attaching themselves to objects or furniture and following it?
I was called out on 3 cases of that.
All right, guys, we're talking about, you're seeing us through a mobile phone. Behind the mobile phone is
yeah.
a video camera, and that's what's zooming in. So that's
Yeah.
right, yeah. I'm on shot in that one.
So, yeah, because the other version goes up on YouTube. I've forgotten what the question was now. It was so long ago.
So what's your opinion of ghosts attaching themselves to objects?
Yeah, I was called out on
This is
3
Elizabeth.
cases of that a long time ago when we did house investigations. And one of them was a antique wedding ring. So somebody had bought an antique wedding ring at some second-hand place or antique store, brought it home, and then she called us in because she was having weird things happening. It didn't stop until she got rid of the ring. Now, was it paranormal? We couldn't prove that while we were there. We knew we were getting some weird things happening. Or was it that she just, because it's old, but she wasn't thinking ghosts. This is the thing. She didn't bring it home with the intention. Otherwise, why would she have brought it home if she thought it was a haunted object that was going to haunt a house? Nobody wants that. So you can't even say it was something in her mind unless she came home and then she started to get more focused on knocks and bangs and kind of put the two together. But yeah, it was really odd, and it really didn't stop until she got rid of it. But I've only known 2 or 3 times I've had that in 30 years. So.
Well, you got to ask the question, why? If I'm a ghost, why would I attach to
Why would you attach to a ring?
item?
Yeah.
Mainly because what you're doing is you're limiting what you can do. And if they can follow you around, if they want to get out of wherever they are and come for a bit of a holiday somewhere, well, they just follow you around attached to you. And it depends why they're attaching. Do they want to use your eyes so they can see what what your house looks like, what humans look like? I'm not a big fan of attachment.
No. As I said, it could have been just... It's like when people have been on tours, sometimes they go, oh, I've taken something home with me. But if you've just been on a ghost tour and you've just heard all these stories and you go home and it's dark and you hear a bang, whereas you would normally not have taken any notice of that, it would just be building noise, something like that. Now you're highly tuned to anything that's going on around you. You hear that bang, you hear the knocks, and all of a sudden it becomes kind of a ghost, I guess. It's almost like that new house syndrome, but for the ghost tours.
Why would you do it if you're a ghost? Let's say you get to the other side. And I say this all the time on investigations. Is think of in terms of you're the spirit. Why would you do that? What would you be getting out of it if you attached to go somewhere else? So even if you like one of the members that come on our tours and you want to attach to them, you can do that and you go somewhere else. What's your reason for doing it? Is it to have a look around? Is it to get out? Is it like to feel the energy of the person? Why would you do it? Surely there'd be other things you can do.
Because it's emotionally attached to that, Shane just said.
Yeah, especially something like a wedding ring.
Yeah. All right, very quickly, because we've been on quite a long time, because this is such a huge subject, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like opening a can of worms with the equipment. Yeah, in fact, we might not even go to that one. We might just go straight to EVP, which is my favourite.
Yeah.
So,
which is pretty cool.
I mean, we try and... EVP, electronic voice phenomena, voices on tapes when you play them back. It can be random sounds, and random sounds to our ears will sound like words, and I've proved this over and over again. I used to do it a lot. You put a sound up and ask what people think it's saying. They'll say things like, help me, Charles. So, but at the same time, sometimes you just get these things that just don't sound like. I'm going to play you a couple of examples. So,
yeah. And they don't. It's funny how they don't happen to us as much as they do on TV.
No, yeah.
Which I always find amazing. It is, isn't it? I've always wondered that.
All right, going back to the jail, in our very early investigations,
So something right there.
we did catch a voice. It was about, well, actually, I will say, because it's PFI footage and stuff, but I will say that it was my co-founder, Jeff, who caught this one, so nice catch. So it's the first voice you're listening to, is the first voice that, it wasn't us, it wasn't them, so have a listen. I like the EVP.
I do. I mean, I got a little boy in the Adelaide Arcade. So if you come on the arcade tour, you get to listen to that one. That for me was...
Craig is shuffling. If Craig's shuffling, it's like...
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was really interesting to have something like that.
Yeah. The camera's actually zoomed in even more now.
Yeah, this is what I was doing before. I end up like this, trying to get into the...
It doesn't want Cag in the camera.
No, it doesn't.
It's a smart camera.
It is a smart camera.
The smart TV.
So,
Oh, Mel was saying they got a young girl's voice at the old Raw.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh look, I mean, I've had some interesting stuff when we played it back. What about you? What about all those heavy breaths that we got at the Raw? Like
That was just me.
Like those
That's
breaths.
me sighing.
You weren't even there, Craig.
Sandy was saying, you look like you don't believe anything, Craig. No, I don't think Craig does that.
I think Craig's playing devil's advocate.
I think
at
he
the
probably
moment, just
is,
to be a
yeah.
wind up to us. That's what Craig's
Rosemary was saying that he's the logical one.
logical.
Your logical ones, that's right. It's the same thing with the EVP. You can't be sure. The jail's a classic because you have people outside the jail, and all the time when you've got an audio recorder on, you're listening for something different. You don't hear the person in the parklands yelling out beer.
So if I'm in the Adelaide Arcade, it was 11 o'clock at night. There was 5 women. It was really, really quiet.
Okay.
And then you have a little... No, because we're in the tea rooms.
Put the camera right. Why is it zooming in?
Yeah, people standing up there smoking.
No. And you have a child, a 3-year-old, sounds like a little tiny child, about 3 years old, to say, I did. That's fine.
That's fine for about a second. Then
Yeah.
it zooms in again.
But same philosophy. Why would they come through and say that instead of saying something else? Why are they reacting just to one question? You asked 20 questions in an EVP session.
But this question was,
one.
did you play with the buttons on the stove? Because his mother was blamed initially for his death. And they found out that he was been found a couple of times before playing with the knobs on his stove. And as soon as that woman says the question, he comes out with, I did.
What about, hi, Cag, my name's Johnny, I did it.
Because he was 3.
He can't even speak at 3.
Well, he said I did.
In a very child. I did.
Yeah, but they all come through childish. They come through either childish or sinister.
All right, so Charmaine was saying, what about what we heard in the ladies' cottage, Alison?
Oh,
That you
that
caught.
was rude. Oh no, that was the other one. Sorry.
Yeah.
There was another one. That was
There was
rude.
2.
It was 2. One of them was, that female voice. That was that female voice we heard in the. This is at Willow Court when we went over to Tasmania with Tasmania's Most Haunted. We both were quite a distance apart, and we both heard a female voice up there, and we both looked at each other, thinking it was each other, and it wasn't us. And it was. I must put that up actually. We did catch it on EVP. We heard it audibly as well, and then we played it back. So, but we are getting on in time. We have actually gone an hour and 20 minutes, guys. So we really should start winding. This could go on forever. We haven't even got to the questions. This seems like we've only been on half an hour.
I know, it's gone very, very quick, isn't it?
So, so we better call it a night. I am going to put my video is not going to be brilliant on YouTube because the camera's zoomed in on its own.
And it's the same camera we use every time, so it shouldn't be doing that.
It's just been complete equipment. I don't know where the gaming things came from. The voice is out my laptop because I haven't got any games on. I do not have Fortnite on there. So where this kid was coming from that was chatting away on Fortnite, shooting things, no idea.
It says Fortnite.
Where? No, it doesn't.
No,
It's nothing on there.
It's swine.
That says Play Store, as in
Play School?
Google.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't know. The equipment's been all over. Sorry about that. Sorry about the glitches. Sorry about the audio not coming through.
It's made it more interesting though. It's pretty cool when stuff's going on.
Yeah, YouTube, I would say, would be more polished when we get it up there. So watch that. We'll have the good audio on that for the EVPs. And the
Well, once you
Ghost
turn the
Box.
audio on.
Yeah, and the only problem is we'll not see Cam because the camera keeps zooming in on it.
It probably realises
that's not a big loss.
that I haven't got my makeup on, so it's probably just trying to take me out completely, which is fair enough.
Any news quickly? Let's round it up. News. England, May. We're off to England in May. We finally scored a couple of venues. We were too busy trying to work out America in August. So England, we've got the Ripon Workhouse. We've scored that just for Cag and me. So we'll be doing some live feeds on Haunted Horizons from there, some investigations. We're trying for Steelhouse. We're just seeing if we can get volunteers to sit with us for that one, the Steelhouse Prison. Definitely got the Skirridin for the night, just Kagami. They're all going home. We're just in the whole place ourselves for the night. America, Waverly Hills, we've got for the night. Just Craig's joining us, just the three of us. So that's all confirmed.
God help me.
Waverly Hills, we've got Penhurst, that's confirmed. Licking County Jail's confirmed. Randolph County Jail
Asylum
is confirmed.
Eloise
is almost confirmed. So yeah, look, we'll be travelling this year. We're going to do lots of live investigations for you to join in with. Now, if you want to get really deeper into those live investigations, you want a lot more and follow us through the whole night, then head to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Haunted Horizons, and you can get a lot more out of that. So it's only $5 a month, and you get a lot more behind the scenes and investigation time. So.
And you get a Dare Cag to do stuff.
Oh, and we're doing a Dare thing. So if you're a Patreon follower, if you're one of our subscribers,
zoomed in.
Is the camera zoomed in again? All right. So if you're one of our, I don't know what it's doing. If you're one of our followers, subscribers, when we go to these places like Waverly Hills, you get to say what you want to see us do, and if you dare us to do something within reason, we have to do it.
Yeah.
So
it should be fun.
It should be a fun time. So there you go. Go and see our Patreon page. All right. That's it, guys. We're going to sign off. We've been on way too long. Thank you so much for sticking with us through all the little troubles tonight. We really do appreciate it.
It's been a bit different.
It's been a weird ass night. But there you go. And we haven't even covered the internet and the equipment. So another time. See you later.
Part 2.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.